I am Jim Collison, and this is the Wellbeing at Work with CliftonStrengths podcast recorded on December 8th, 2021. In this Clifton Strengths podcast, we'll look at the strengths, insights, and action planning items from Appendix 1 in the Gallup book, Wellbeing at Work, one theme at a time. And today's theme is communication. If you're listening live, we'd love to have you join us in our chat room. If you have questions after the fact, you can always send us an email as well, coaching@gallup.com. Dr. Jacqueline Robinson is our host today. She works as a learning and development consultant and was the primary contributor to Appendix 1, probably the only appendix in any book that's ever going to get read. Just be honest, our appendixes are super great in the Wellbeing at Work book. And Jacqueline, always great to be with you. Welcome back.
Thank you, sir. So we get to talk communication today.
We do. Why don't we start with that definition?
Yeah. So if you are someone that has communication, or you know someone that has it, people with high communication tend to find ease with putting their thoughts into words. So they are really good conversationalists and presenters.
By the way, communication 4, good at talking, not good at writing. So I don't always necessarily means all forms of communication. So just communication,
It's a good
folks, if
disclaimer.
you're a struggling writer or a struggling speaker, but you're good at one or the other, take advantage of it. This
Yes.
is an example of what it can be.
Know your talents.
Yes, that's right. Let's talk a little bit about how does that relate to you, and then how might it relate to others?
If I think about how it relates to you, if you lead with this theme, you may find enjoyment in bouncing ideas and thoughts off of other people. This interaction might feel more engaging, I would say, than thinking to yourself or working solo. And then if I think about how it relates to other people, as a natural communicator, others might look to you to speak up for themselves or the team. So you're likely to do so in a way that really resonates and engages that intended audience. You can switch gears if you see it's not landing. And I think because you are that natural communicator and people see you as that person that can be the voice of themselves or the team, uh, they feel seen and heard. People feel seen and heard when you are the speaker for them, so to speak.
Yeah, and I don't think it always means talking to. Sometimes it's
Mhm.
talking with, and I find
Mhm.
myself a lot helping other people express what they're thinking just through conversation. So they're like, "Hey,
Yes.
I'm thinking about this," and I'm like, "Well, let's talk about it some." And then this happens a lot. I hear, "I like what that like. I like where
Yes.
we went with that. I'm going to keep using that." And that's, I think, when we think about how it relates to others, that's where I think folks with communication, you and I, we sometimes we talk about that, the me and the we, and sometimes I think
Mhm.
communication, it's all about me talking or all about me writing or all about me communicating. It can actually really relate to others and helping them, just like you said, helping
Yes.
them get a ways down with that, either through speaking or through writing. Mark, Mark, who helps me do the edits here,
Mhm.
uh, for all these, he helps me communicate in writing. Like that's his gift. And so I
Yes.
say, "Hey, can you kinda write something like this?" And he just makes it magical, right? And you just kinda go,
Yes.
that is so great." So anything else you'd add to that?
No, I love it. I'm so glad that you just really deepened the extension of how it works for
Mm,
teams, because
yeah,
going back to conversationalists, I think we can naturally just go straight to presentation mode, or they're the lecturer, they come in and lead a meeting and communicate for the other team, but they're
yeah,
really great conversationalists, and just in that two-way conversation, they can help unpack new ideas or thinking or perspective,
yeah, and just be
or help
helpful.
people find their words. Yeah.
Right, yeah,
Yeah.
no, right on, good. It's what makes me good at this, I think, is
Mhm.
asking a lot of great I just love to ask questions, so I talk too, so it's not like it's just only questions. Jacqueline, when we think about communication, and we're spending a bunch of time thinking about well-being,
Yes.
communication when it's thriving versus when it's struggling?
I think when there's an opportunity to communicate with others and share ideas, thoughts, actions, lived experiences, just being able to communicate with other people, I feel is such a need of someone that leads with this. Struggling is likely going to look like when there's no platform or person to
Mhm.
communicate with or to, and it feels like your voice is silenced, whether it's, I would say, unintentionally or intentionally. But I feel like those high in communication are extroverted and like to be around people and express ideas or actions or experiences with other people.
Yeah, struggling when they may not feel like they're being heard,
Yes.
or even getting the opportunity to help others be heard. I
Mhm.
mean, I think this is some of us with high empathy or whatever, and when we're trying to advance the cause of others
Mhm.
and we're not being heard in that, I think that can have that same struggling effect, right,
Yeah.
to it.
Truly
Y
your voice is silenced
Yeah, yeah, or
for yourself or others.
even worse is when it bounces back to you.
Mm.
Like, not just not being able to say it, but when you say it and it just bounces off and comes right back, that's so hard, right? I mean, it's just part of
Yes.
it, though. In the appendix, we look at each theme kind of through the 5 elements of well-being. Walk us through one of those, and tell us
Yeah.
how communication can work with pick one.
I'm gonna take us down the financial well-being
Ooh,
road this time.
I like it.
So if I think about someone with communication, because this person processes their thoughts out loud, connecting with someone they trust to talk through their vision and goals for their financial future can be really fruitful, as opposed to just using a computer system or a log to plug in your financial goals. I think really making it come to life is being able to share it with somebody else that can inspire you or help you put those
Mm.
financial milestones in place.
As we look at the end of the year here, I mean, as we're recording this, we're all thinking about goals for
Yes.
2022 and the end of the year. And it's pay time, we're all maybe some of us are going through those pay conversations and all those
Mhm.
things, right? I love that you kind of pointed this towards the financial well-being. As a manager, at the end of the year, I kind of had a thing I'd go through with the folks that I was working with, like, okay, let's make sure we're covering all of our financial bases. And we just kind of talk through it, not
Mhm.
telling, talking. Like, the just here's the
Yes.
opportunity. How do you feel about this? Boom, boom. They could say as little or as much as they wanted to, but that was an area I feel like with communication I can help out. So that's really cool.
Yes.
I hadn't thought of it that way, of using that communication talent to get that kind of done. There are
Yes.
4 others out there for you as a resource as well. If you're thinking about working with individuals and thinking about their top 5, you work through those, and there's some great questions that should come out of those as you're helping individuals be able to do this, especially
Yes.
asking questions about how their well-being is kind of doing. Did you want to add anything else before I move on?
No, that's perfect.
So let's spend a little bit of time thinking about how these themes, in this case communication, can be used to support others.
Mhm. So if you're a manager or you're leading a team, bringing clarity to where the company is heading in the next year or two and how the team contributes to that, I think could be really constructive and conducive at this point in time.
Mhm.
I've seen a lot lately where people are looking at, the next fiscal year, and leadership might be clear about where they're heading, but management might not be. I think for someone that has communication high as a manager, this is an opportune moment because you might be able to, being that master communicator, connect with leadership. How is this vision aligning with our team or our department? And bringing that clarity of communication can then bring stability. So that's, what initially came to mind for me as I was thinking about communication as a manager. Because of that stability, you can also help them feel like there's a purpose-driven path towards what they're doing because they see how what they're doing connects to the future. And there's a lot of mixed messaging right now for people.
Mhm.
If you are on a team looking for opportunities to build connections across teams or departments through more effective communication, I think that can move teams from feeling siloed to feeling more included, just simply by opening up communication, having ideas about it, or suggesting just social scenarios where people can get together and connect.
Mhm.
And then I would say, as an individual, being an effective communicator and storyteller, consider where your talents can be of assistance in inspiring and motivating other people. It's a power that you
Mhm.
have to be able to hear stories and bring them to life, and maybe engaging someone about what story is making them excited. You can inspire them even more and take it to the next level.
I love the middle section where you talked about cross team communication. I
Mhm.
often think we cover the top down communication, and then we talk about teams, functional teams a lot. What we
Mhm.
don't spend a lot of time is the effectiveness of teams with other teams that have to work together,
Yes.
right? And those team members where it may not be their dotted or their straight line responsibility to have communication with that team, but that
Mhm.
can provide that dotted line or that matrix communication to make sure that processes and procedures are working correctly and those teams are working together. Man,
Mhm.
I think that could probably improve a bunch of people's. I mean, think about the impact,
Bunch.
right?
Yes. Quality of work, productivity, friendships in the
Yeah,
workplace.
right.
Just from knowing how to build bridges or having someone comfortable enough to go out there and hear the stories of others or bring their story to others. And
In the Q12, we have
absolutely.
that question committed to quality. And I think this committed to quality can be influenced by how's the communication between the teams happening. And it can be
Mhm.
at the local team basis, but it can also be at the macro level as we think about teams communicating with each other and how in a larger organization that's so important. Smaller organizations that
For
might just
sure.
happen naturally, but in larger ones that just kind of can get lost. And I think some
It
great
can.
opportunities there. Yeah. Anything else you want to
Yes.
add to that?
No. No, you nailed it.
In appendix 2, we have a framework, and this a free gift for you in the back of the book for you to go through some. It is a free gift because there's some great questions back there. Like
There really are.
you should just be ripping those things off. So get back there. We ask these questions as we think. Walk us through. We ask ourselves, ask your team members, and then some action planning. Walk us through that with communication.
Yeah. So if you have communication, you could ask yourself, is the vision for the future clear to my team? Where or how can I add clarity? You've got that master communication skill. This could be your opportunity to really help them see the future. Ask your team members, do we spend enough social time together as a team? I think this is something someone high in communication does well, is being able to socialize and connect with other people. Um, Although we will disclaim it once more, not everyone likes to do this verbally. It could be written, but for those that do like to just verbalize and connect with people through communication, you might be that great point of contact for folks to bring them together in a social environment and share out with each other. And then for take action, hold walk and talk meetings rather than just sitting. It's a way to get your social well-being heard and visible, a way for your physical well-being to be out there and energized. So you can tackle two things at once.
It's a great it's a great way to get things done.
Career well-being too.
I know I just don't do enough. I don't do it. The other night I was just last night I was going out to pick something up at Lowe's and I thought, oh, it's Tuesday night. I'm supposed to call my mom. So I called her from the car.
I love
It just worked,
it.
right? So I think the same kind of deal, we're
Yeah.
doing less of this. By the way, can be done with a Zoom call or can be
Mhm.
done on a Teams call or just a phone call where you put your earbuds in and you walk outside or you
Yes.
walk around the house or you walk up and down some stairs
Mhm.
as you're talking. Yeah, don't run out of breath. But maybe do. Some great opportunities in that. Like, I just think there's some great opportunities to take those meeting times, share that with others too. I mean, maybe have a common goal
Mhm.
that you're going to while we're doing this kind of communication, we're also going to achieve some fitness goals or we're going to achieve whatever, like
Yeah.
whatever's in that. Do it together. I walk every morning on the treadmill and I find a really interesting video on YouTube and it's gone. Like so, get those meetings in and done or whatever, however that works for you. Jacqueline,
Mhm.
anything else you want to add before I close this thing up?
No. Well, okay, yes.
Yeah,
So
of course you do.
communication is this communication is a piece that I think is missing in some organizations or for
Mm,
some managers or leaders, and that's where I think those high in communication, you can really offer and contribute a lot right now. It's just been an ongoing theme that I've seen where it's okay, where are we heading a year from now, 2 years from now? What's our mission again? Has it changed a little bit? Because you're so fluid with your thoughts and your words and can just
mm,
tend to speak quite easily without having to think it through too hard and long like some of us. um, you can put that into a language that everybody understands and really create that
mm.
clarity, that stability, and that connection to something greater than self. So
How-
cheers to you, my communication friends.
I love that. I love that. Trust your instincts too on this. Like
Mhm.
if you feel like you're good at this, do it. Like
Mhm.
don't hold back. Don't have imposter syndrome in
Mhm.
these areas of communication. However they're expressed. Find them, find what you do well, get some great feedback and then do them. We need them.
Yes.
We definitely need them. So make sure you're doing that as well. Well, with that, we'll remind everyone to take full advantage of all the resources we do have available. And there's more and more every day inside of Gallup Access. So head out to gallup.com/CliftonStrengths, log in there, check the resources tab, and do a search. You'll be surprised what's there. For coaching, master coaching, or to become a Gallup certified strengths coach, you can just send us an email, coaching@gallup.com. Join us on any social platform just by searching Clifton Strengths. We did a couple LinkedIn and Instagram things today, and you would have known that if you would have been following us on either one of those platforms. I'm not a big Instagram guy, but I think I'm gonna need to be, Jacqueline. I think this
Hmm.
is one of those areas I'm just gonna have to give in. I don't really understand that
It's
platform, but
time.
I'm gonna have to. You can
It's that or
follow.
TikTok, Jim.
I know. I know I'm resisting on that one too, but you can find us on all those platforms just by searching Clifton Strengths. We want to thank you for listening. And if you found this helpful, we just ask that you'd share it in some way. We'd love to have you do that. And if you're listening to us as a podcast, make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode. If you're listening live, stay around. We'll have a few minutes for some post show. With that, we'll say goodbye, everybody.